Welcome, reanimated fans, to this week's episode. I'm AJ Conrad, coming to you from Brooklyn, and with me is Stuart Tiffin on the West Coast. Hello, Stuart.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. So we actually have a few news items today, but following that, we'll do a little review recap of Zomvivor episodes 4 and 5. Excited to chat with you about some of it. Not all of it. Some of it's frustrating to me, but all good. But before we get into that, let's hop into the news. So, um, there's a listicle that you found, Stuart, about annoying characters on The Walking Dead, and it was kind of weird. I mean, I think it was probably meant to cause some consternation. It's kind of odd. I mean, it's got
It's just lazy, I
yeah,
think. Like this is by tvline.com. I don't know this outlet. I don't know what their pedigree is. And if you look down in the comments, the first few comments are like, "What are you even talking about?" Like, because Rick Grimes is on their list of most annoying Walking Dead characters. I really think they just went like, "Yeah, here are the ones who had the most screen time." So they had the most potential for the writers to screw up their storylines with inconsistencies. And I think, yeah, there's probably an argument to be made there, but that's the laziest possible argument.
yep, for
So,
sure.
yeah, like the one who's at the top of the list is Lori Grimes. I mean, and granted, yes, people were very frustrated by her, but she was only on the show for three, I guess. She was in the third season, but really, she's only on the show for 2 seasons, and one of them was only 6 episodes, right? Um, Andrea also gets on the list, but they have Carol and Rick on there, and I don't think that the arguments that they make for their quote unquote annoyingness really they don't land with me. I don't know. How did you feel about it?
I just felt like it was lazy and, to me, the sort of gripes about some of the characters weren't necessarily like to me, those were more writing, and we know exactly which seasons were better than others, like writing and storyline issues. Specifically like the great, and you and I have actually talked about this, and I don't see it as like necessarily an issue with the characters, but more of an issue with like the storytelling. And then some of them are just like pulling hard from like, I don't know, to me, like people that didn't even necessarily have any kind of real impact on the show. So I don't know. I didn't, Carol and Rick are like kind of the most problematic on this list. I also feel like Eugene, they could have done a lot more. I get why they feel this way, and you and I have also felt this way sometimes. But anyway, it seemed like kind of a weird way to go. And then they pick some random kid characters that are just like whatever. And obviously Carl, and that's not like I get why they just didn't do a lot with that character and they kind of ran out of steam with that. So I don't know. It seemed, and it also seems like odd. Like, why would you even be doing this now? It's just getting clicks, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe they wrote this 5 years ago and it's
Mm.
just they're just trotting it back out. But yeah, it's a silly list, and it's not really worth your time, I guess, is what I would say.
Um, and then another news, speaking of Walking Dead, and Dead City, Worcester, apparently there's like a little article, sadly behind a paywall, but basically, sort of tallied up what the city made, but I don't even think that this is the alone. This is just for like permits and security and, all the things you would normally have as part of a production. And this is just like all the city services that are included. It was 200,000, but that's actually
It
not
doesn't
that
sound like a
much.
lot of money to me. That's why
Yeah,
I
that's
thought it
not.
was noteworthy.
So I think it's only talking about that stuff. So I don't think it
But
probably.
what other, I mean, what other, so yeah, it's like a lot of it is police and fire permits and overtime, I'm sure, to have like somebody standing by on set while they're shooting. But like, yeah, surely there's a fee for closing down streets, like a, what they would call that here, a I don't remember the word for it, but it's like when you get into the public right of way, there's a fee for that. There's a permit that you have to,
Yeah.
like if you're holding a race like a marathon, you have to have a permit to shut down the right of way. And I imagine they're shutting down
Yeah,
significant parts of Worcester, maybe like in the outskirts, because they're looking for these industrial
areas.
wasteland
Yeah.
areas. But I don't know. I thought it was an interesting number and kind of lower than I thought it would be. I thought it would be closer to $1 million.
My guess is that they just scraped through like because like all this stuff is public, so they probably looked at like the public stuff. So I doubt that this even like
Oh,
hit.
it should all be public. If the city is making a deal,
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like, I'm sure in addition to this, they also had all
yeah.
the different services and catering and everything else that you would possibly imagine that probably brought a lot of revenue into the city. Um,
Mm.
but anyway, um, and then speaking of Dead Dead City season three, apparently it's a little delayed. So,
Again, as I said before we started recording, this is Screen Rant's word. I don't think AMC ever promised Dead City season 3 happening this year. I think people assumed that it would come out in 2026 because they
yeah,
finished filming in 2025. But they're down to two shows. I'm sure they're
yeah,
trying to spoon feed the rest of this franchise out. They don't want to.
yeah. I felt like they're looking for like a window that will hopefully for them provide the most bang for their buck.
Yeah,
So it's not, I mean, this is normal that they're trying to time things. So I think that this is a little bit of a let's get everybody riled up kind of an article.
oh for sure. It's Screen Rant after all. That's kind of what they
Yeah.
specialize in.
Yep.
But
Um,
yeah, they're saying it's delayed, and I mean I'm okay with that. Let's give Jeffrey Dean Morgan some time to find his, I don't know, his verve, his vim, his vigor,
yeah.
because he did
Um,
not bring it in season 2. I guess it's already in the can, so it's not like he can improve on it at this point.
right. And then the last little thing we just saw, and I think probably related to the fact that it's, I think, out, or yeah, I think it is out now. Is there was like an interview with Liam Neeson and Georgina Campbell and Joe Keery about cold storage. And there's like it's kind of a funny little interview, and Liam Neeson actually gives a really big shout out to like Leslie Manville. And I'm excited to see her. And this is like a funny kind of choice for her too. But a lot of what they're talking about is how the script is silly, but then there's like real moments of like humanity within it, which is kind of what you like about these kinds of things. At least with the trailer that we saw, it felt a little more slapstick and kind of like there was a little bit more silliness than I was anticipating, but I don't know. What did you think?
I will be honest, I haven't had a chance to read this entire
Mm,
interview, but in the introduction, they're talking about the guy who wrote the script, and apparently he wrote Jurassic Park, and he's written Indiana Jones and Spider-Man, and Liam Neeson seems like a fan of his.
mm.
So the trailer we saw looked pretty silly. I guess we'll see how that stacks up against some of those bigger names that the scriptwriter has prepared also.
We'll get to review that soon, hopefully. But before we get to that, we're still reviewing Zomvivor, and we're almost finished, or we're close to being finished. But we watched episodes 4 and 5, and this is sort of the continuing storyline that we were. The groups are now dwindling a bit, and there's lots of action happening. So. What was your feeling about episode 4, Stuart? I mean,
I
we get some answers-ish, so.
I don't know how I feel about all this, honestly. This is the first time I've watched a show on fast forward.
Oh, you've never done that before? See?
No,
It's
yeah,
kind of weird.
I know you've done it, and maybe that's why I did it because I was like, oh, HA says it's okay.
I actually did not watch these on fast forward, but that's all right.
So it's really the cheer squad, I think, is where this show does not work for me at all.
Yeah,
And
okay, then thank you very much. I will get right into it then.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree.
It's just there's a lot of frustrating long periods of time we're spending with them that don't pay off for me.
Yep.
And I granted it's not like the majority of this episode of these two episodes. I will say the questions I have about the parentage of Zan and Non and Ning only continue to stack up.
Yeah, it's very weird,
Um and by episode 5, Non and Zan are about to hook up.
right?
And Prow is telling Ning in episode 4, by the way, Zan and I have sex all the time behind your back. And doesn't that make you feel bad? Prow is such a jerk.
Yes. Prow is a real jerk, and also but the whole scene was weird and like I don't know, it's strange. I do like how Ning just was like, whatever.
They're
Like,
writing this in such a way, and her performance, it doesn't seem like she's that upset.
no. And also she's just like, why are you being so like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
what's wrong with you, Prowl? Is her
Yeah.
response instead of like, I can't believe you're telling me this, or I can't believe Zan's doing this behind my back.
Yeah.
She's never confirming or denying that they have a sexual relationship, her and
Yeah.
Zan. And that is keeping me literally on the edge of my seat, as opposed to other parts of the show that I frankly don't really care that much about.
Yeah.
But I thought that was what a way to start. And it's kind of weird how they pick up in episode 4 because we left episode 3 in a bit of a cliffhanger where Pow is noticing that one of the guy he axed is starting to turn, but then we kind of go back in time for the beginning, not long, but like seconds, I guess, for the beginning of episode 4.
Yep.
So the guy doesn't really reanimate until a few minutes into it, and we've already had a few other
Yeah.
scenes.
And that's actually kind of an interesting thing that they do. Um, you know, like it takes a lot to take these out. Like a very drastic something to for the brain to kind of like it takes a lot it is not easy, and sometimes you see them return in a way that you're like, oh, I'm not totally sure that that would happen. So, um, I don't know. Like they play that game a little bit in this show where you kind of think people are taken care of and then they're not. But
Yeah, it's true, especially in episode 4, 5, like in this
yeah,
and the next one, there's
yeah,
also a reanimation that comes out of nowhere.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, um,
Um, but yeah, so I guess that's in episode 5 because,
yeah,
right. Yeah, watching two of these in a row they're like an hour each.
I
And so
guess what
there is kind of a lot of content.
there's a lot of content, but it is also weirdly, I don't know, I feel like it could be packaged a little differently because it does, to me, there's certain things that just take a long time to get there. And the cheer squad piece is the piece that I get the most annoyed at. But, and it sounds like you felt the same way.
Yeah. I will also point out that this in this cold open before the title credits roll, Prowl once again meta fourth wall breaking sort of refers to herself and Ning as the villain and the hero. She's
Yeah,
like, do you notice why the villain and heroes fights always happen in bathrooms?
yeah, it was weird.
Uh, yeah. They're writing her in a weird way. Like in a way it's too meta. I think that they should kind of take their foot off the gas there a little bit. She doesn't have to keep referring to herself as an extra or or whatever the hell her arguments have been. It's just strange. Basically, everybody becomes aware that Pow has escaped. They find Mook tied up in the storage room or whatever. So she wasn't killed, which is what we were kind of thinking he had maybe killed her because he had choked her out in the last episode, but then apparently had a change of heart. And he then off screen axes that boy in the head,
Hmm.
but he still gets up.
Yeah,
So there is some sort of like healing factor that also becomes introduced in the next episode that I think we're starting to see
right.
evidence of. Like, are these zombies ever really dead? Lily clearly was reanimated twice,
Yep,
but once was just from drowning. So couldn't zombies drown? I think based on normal canon, you would say no. And based on the fact that these are jellyfish related
right,
zombies, absolutely they should not drown.
right.
Don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so but they all run outside because Prow has gone outside and they're upset that he axed that one kid in the head, and then they have to shoot that kid. But then they're like, "This is all Pow's fault." I mean, and it is because he actually axed that guy in the back with a tainted axe. So it is Pow's fault.
Yeah. Oh, for
But
sure.
but then there's a fight out in the street that draws zombies away from the gym where the other group of kids is trying to record. They're trying to get this evidence again to share with who I don't know because they don't have any contact with the outside world. Evidence of how the zombies are organized.
Yeah, and that's like the part, like how are you going to get that to anybody, right? Like that's the part that I'm like, this feels like very risky. I mean, maybe it's this idea that you're going to somehow get this out to the public. Like I just couldn't, maybe I missed something, but this is kind of odd that they're doing this unless they're like doing reconnaissance and then figuring out what to do, which I guess is maybe what they're trying to do.
They
Bring
are
back.
they're trying to get intel, and I understand the urge for that, but they never talk about what they're going to do with it.
Right,
But then eventually they have these like every so often these group of, I mean, they're all educated young people, right? Every so often they'll have a conversation about like, why is this happening? What can we do about it?
right,
And it's often very action oriented. It's not like, well, let's just survive, let's just hunker down. They're often very motivated to like take steps, right? And by episode 5, they're coming up with a real plan of action, and none of their plans have anything to do with trying to get help from the Thai government or anybody
right.
outside of their immediate environment, right? And so I just feel like maybe it would have been interesting. And then maybe it's because of what happened on the parking lot roof that they were like, well, clearly there's no help coming from the outside world, so we're on our own. We have to deal with it ourselves. Maybe that's what's happening, or
Maybe.
maybe yeah, I don't know. But so what they're seeing in the gym though is the cleaning lady, Auntie Jit, uh, is clearly an alpha of some
Hmm.
kind, and she eats another zombie, and they get it all on
Yeah.
tape, and they're kind of just like, what's happening down there when the gunshots start outside and all the zombies run outside too. And then there's a big street fight with
Yeah.
zombies, and there's zombie on zombie fighting.
Yeah.
That's never really explained, but maybe it's just part of this whole like
Idea of
factional
what we,
factional
yeah,
zombie thing that they're introducing.
which is somehow related to things we find out a little bit later, but sort of the basis for this whole thing.
I would
They're
have thought that they would put aside their tribalism
right,
when they've got living humans right in front of them, but it's literally like a three-way fight in the street for
right.
a minute there.
Yeah. Um, and I mean, and if you watch this in normal time, it's painfully like how, again, this group could easily get away, but they don't. They're very slow and it's very like
Oh
uneven in
yeah.
how it's so uneven in how like these things unfold. And while I do really like the choreography and I like the makeup, and I just think that it feels like, and again, like you just have this group that now knows what they're supposed to be doing. They know how they have to get away, and you have consistently characters that are like, save yourselves, and they sacrifice themselves when I don't really feel like they need to. So that's one thing that I just found to be really annoying. And then, um, and then you have other characters that are like, look, like Pow was really like, there's definitely something up with him, and I understand that, but I don't know how he would have gotten out of this. And we've seen it's fine. I get it. They use it as a mechanism to get into like the scientific research part of the building, the lab, but it feels sort of like forced to me in that way because of how this whole fight unfolds, and who dies and who doesn't seems just ridiculous to me. But did you have feelings about that?
Like by the time they get into the building with, I think it's Ek,
It's Ek, Pow.
Pao, Yin, and Ning,
Yep.
And then Pow is summarily executed by Ek.
Right.
And he's just sitting there laughing. I was like, wow, like a lot of people just went out into the street to find Pow, and
Right.
at least one of them's dead, and that feels crazy. I mean, Ek is also dead because of like Pow does lead to the deaths of several
Right.
characters, and they're almost all these gym bros. They call them
Right.
the PE kids,
Right.
which
And I mean, Pal's just being irrational and creepy and crazy. And I mean, Eck
it's
just,
still like he felt like had the opportunity to be a significant character on this show, and I guess he is significant in his role
right.
as a chaos agent in a way because he's off his meds and he's having a really hard time.
Yep.
Can we really quickly fast rewind back to another scene where T is talking to a guy whose name I don't remember who it was. Maybe it's Earth.
Yep.
And it's before the boy reanimates with the axe. And he's like drawing zombies in his diary, and the guy's like, "Oh, what
Oh,
are you drawing over there?" And he
yeah.
and he goes on this monologue about how he started watching The Walking Dead when he was 10 years old, and he used to be so scared, and then he grew to love zombies, and he's afraid to admit it, but he can't stop himself that he just loves the zombie apocalypse so much, and he's so happy that it's a zombie apocalypse. And I thought this was actually pretty funny, where the guy he's telling this to is just like, yeah, I, I gotta go. I thought that was really good. Hmm. Like it's a weird thing to acknowledge. It's more of this like uh meta sort of thing that this show is doing where he was the director of the student film that they were making in the first episode, and it turns out he's just a
Yeah, no.
huge zombie fan.
They do this a couple of times where it's almost like they are breaking and they do this with Prow a lot. They're breaking they're sort of being meta and so, like self-aware, and this is one of those places, although it's not quite as much as when Prow does it, but um, but he kind of goes on this thing, and it was actually really funny, like how he realizes he's almost like said too much.
Hmm.
But I kind of enjoyed that. And I did like, you know, the references and the deliberate, like how it was deliberate. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. So that was a highlight for me. And then like the groups run out into the street, like we said, four of them end up in the science building, and but then two of them are dead very quickly after they get in there. And the other survivors, who is really just one of the gym kids now, and then I guess it's Prow, Fu, the guy with the thermometer, Non, and Zan, and Mook. So there's like six of them ish, give or take. There might be one other who I'm forgetting. They're in a gym, like, but not the gym they were just in. They're in a different gym, or maybe a different part of that same building, like just the basketball court part of it. And they're kind of locked in there because the zombies basically chased them in there. Um, and that's kind of where they spend the rest of the next two episodes, just talking about what they're gonna do, and they review the footage of Anti-Jit attacking a zombie, and they come to the conclusion that they have this tribalism or these factions of zombies, and that how there are alphas and what their next thing is going to be they're going to do. Right? Isn't that true? That they basically stay in there for the rest of the two
Yeah.
episodes we're talking about.
Yep. Pretty much. Yep.
So I guess that can't be where most of this story is happening. As I try to recall both episodes, I think they go to them every so often. Prowl is like uh, planting seeds of revolt with Mook, who has been blamed for letting
Hmm.
Pal go.
Yeah. And I mean they're setting up certain things, so it's kind of interesting to watch the different group or the like now like the different groups as they're all navigating whatever's happening. What I thought was kind of interesting is that we get some of the pieces of the puzzle through the observation of the PE kids and such. We get some of it through, what's going on in the lab eventually. And then we also get more information from the cheerleading squad in the greenhouse.
Yeah,
Um, so, I mean,
yeah, but minus the cheerleading part.
Yeah, no, no,
All
that
the
part.
all the Lily, I think that was the main thing I had a problem with was all this like, don't you understand that Lily was the best cheerleader we had in 30 years? All
Yeah,
this it took
that stuff was weird.
I
And
didn't time it because I was just hoping it would be over faster, but it was
oh
so
no,
long.
it was really long, the lead up to it. And I mean, we already know that maybe they don't know, but we have seen in other places that the zombies are very much able to do things that they did consistently and often, so like the repetitive tasks and repetitive things. And so I don't know that they needed this weird thing to hit it over to make it like even more clear, and it was painful and it was weird and put them all in danger, and I found
Yeah.
it just to be really annoying. But this was, the sort of only thing that made sense in what they did was the whole thing in the greenhouse where it's like, well, these like hallucinating mushrooms have a calming effect on them. Okay, great. How are you going to get more? It took a lot too, by the way. Like they have her
Put a
eat
fistful in
a
her
lot of
mouth, yeah.
them.
And
And
that
that
just
it
looked
was
like
actually pretty
shiitake.
funny.
Wasn't that just
Yeah.
shiitake mushrooms or
No,
something
it's
like
like
that?
psilocybin. It's
No, I know,
like,
but they're calling it psilocybin, but
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what
a
they look
mushroom
like.
expert.
Anyway, I have a feeling the actor was probably laughing a lot over that. Um,
Well,
but
that's what the zombie Lily does for the rest of the
right.
couple episodes is she just sits in her chair
He's like,
laughing.
hi. Like,
And then I did like the parts where Knight was coming up with his plan, and his idea is because the mushrooms took effect so fast on on Lily, that's probably true for the rest of the zombies that they will react to plant-based agents
yeah,
faster than humans do. And so he's making this kind of cool, although maybe unrealistic, weapon based on a fire extinguisher, and he's going to use castor bean oil um, to make ricin, and he's going to use mushrooms, and I think there was some other stuff he was talking about. I don't know how they were going to pressurize this into
right,
a fire extinguisher without like some specialized equipment, but
right,
they have a plan at least to like incapacitate the zombies or maybe kill them because they're using ricin. And I thought that was pretty cool. But how are they going to apply this with a fire extinguisher without inhaling it themselves? I don't know.
right. That worried me, but also, why are we wasting time on doing cheers with Lily and this
Well,
weird
that's happening in the
path?
other room, right?
But
But
even
that's
so,
definitely a waste of time for us as the audience. And it goes on again too long. And this is already after this impassioned monologue about Sun, who is Billowy Sleeves, Sun's history with Lily.
hmm,
Oh, it's so frustrating.
yep,
So then they do these routines, and then when it doesn't work the first time, they do it a second time. God damn. But then she starts to talk. And like I think that is maybe the big takeaway that we're supposed to have from the cheering is not only do zombies like repeat their activities that they used to do, like shelving books, but they don't speak. And but Lily is doing the cheer chanting
hmm.
while she's laughing, and she's trying to do the hand gestures behind her back, but her hands are tight. So I think maybe it's a combination of the mushrooms, working with her cheer squad again, her beloved cheer squad. Uh, I think that's what we're supposed to take. I thought what I was supposed to be taking away from it. Like that suddenly they'd made a huge breakthrough.
Sort of. I don't know. It was frustrating that whole section. So, um, I don't know. This that I could have done without because I would have liked to have the rest of it kind of moving along. I mean, I would have loved to have just much more about what they're trying to do with the ricin and everything else versus what they did here.
Yeah.
And then,
And that dude goes outside
Sun's revelation is
to,
like
toward the
crazy.
end of episode 5. Sun goes outside to be like, I will lead them away.
Right.
And the rest of the cheer squad are very dramatically reacting to this. And he's like, I'll make you both lieutenants now in the cheer squad hierarchy.
It was
Is it
so
supposed to
weird.
be funny? Are we supposed to think this is
I do think it's supposed to be funny, and maybe this is supposed to be that break. And that's even with Lily doing her cheer and all that. And there's always been something kind of ridiculous about their section. But this was just kind of, but the problem is that it doesn't fully like fit in with the pacing and the tone of everything else.
Hmm.
So I don't know. So that's the cheer squad. Um, but the other really confusing thing that we should be talking about is what's going on with uh Non and like this. I was like, oh gosh, okay. Because we have is sorry, I might be mixing these episodes. The flashback is in this
I
episode.
think it's in episode
Oh,
5.
okay.
It does. I
Sorry.
mean, to me,
We could just talk
they're
about it
all
when
one
we,
episode in my head too.
yeah.
But
So,
this also links to what Prow is telling Mook in the gym because she's like, "Do you even know about Zan's big secret?" And then you've cut to Zan having a panic attack or something. He's holding his heart. He's taking pills. He's sinking to the
right.
floor. He's looking unwell. And then Non comes in and they have a cuddle. And then we go to a flashback.
Yeah.
So there are a couple different flashbacks in these two episodes. Some of them deal with Ning and Raj and the continuing tests of the human trial. And some of them relate to this weird ass thing or whatever's happening between Non and potentially his brother, Zan, um, and this night out that they have in a club. But also, it has nothing to do with their night out. It's just that is somehow a moment that leads to an argument between Ning and Non, and Zan is just drunk in the back of his own car, and Non has taken care of him. I don't know. Like really, the makeout or the almost kiss that happens in episode 5, that all happens in the present. We don't know that that's ever happened or gotten that close before.
Yeah. I don't know. It's some of these things are very, very confusing in how they're rolling things out. So, um, because because you could read some of the things that Zan's dealing with, like his panic attacks and everything, are more to do with what we then see as the flashback in the lab with Non and um Ning's mom. And who wouldn't be traumatized after seeing that, right? Not
And
just
I feel like he's
traumatized.
seen a lot worse stuff since then, is the weird
He
thing.
has, but that maybe was the start of it all and
Yeah.
probably why he was having such a hard time at the club, maybe. And they're trying hard to imply that there's something weird going on with Non. I just don't know exactly if it's what like we see a lot of like knowing looks. So when those two are Non is when Non is giving Zan like comfort. And this is the thing that's weird about it, like which I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're trying to do here, but who like I don't think it would be abnormal for somebody to be breaking down, right?
Right.
Um, and it wouldn't be abnormal, but culturally, maybe it is different for somebody to be giving comfort in this. It didn't feel like
Their
that.
comfort is very, very like their faces are really close together. I
Mm,
think that's where maybe because when Thawne or Thorn or
right.
whatever this guy's name is comes around the corner, he is shook. He's it's
Yeah,
just
no,
like,
the reaction is for
wow.
sure. The reaction is for sure like
Yeah.
wild and very strong. And so, but to me, it's like, well, okay, but they're all in this very um stressed out situation. I guess I just don't know if that is what maybe it would happen. I don't know. But then there's an awful lot of things flying around after that is observed. Like a lot of innuendo and kind of very not even really coded things like and so that's kind of interesting. And but I felt like it wasn't I don't know. I just don't unless there's more things that have been going on. I mean, we know that he's been giving non-gifts. We like have a lot of questions about parentage. Like there's just like a lot of things happening that this to me is very a very muddy way of telling this story, but I think that they're heavily trying to hint at this other kind of idea.
Well,
Um,
unless Non has the wrong idea about who his mother is,
Mm.
They're both calling the same lady mom, right?
Right.
So that right there is what we would call a red flag in the
Yeah.
romantic world. Um, and then there's another question raised in one of these episodes, and I don't remember which one it is, which is why does Dr. Weeraj have a photo of Nan and his mom when
Mm.
Nan is an infant? And this is the question, and why is Nan's birthday the code to his safe in his office? And these are questions that Ning and Yin are trying to ponder.
Well, I think yeah, I think that we know the answer to that question. I don't think Neen wants to know the answer, but Neen is like, let's try that. Right? Like he gets there really quickly. And I think he knows what it is and he's worried about her and her reaction to it, but it's like he's put in this position where he has to kind of be there to help with the aftermath of some realizations she's having, which have to be pretty difficult, I'm sure, because it's
I'm
like,
sure.
um,
And complicating their journey of discovery in this lab is the fact
right.
that Eck, after having shot himself in the head because he had been bitten in the street fight, so he comes in. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're bit." He's like, "Yeah, here are all the bullets. Everything's gonna be fine." Shoots Pal and then shoots himself. Um, so we're thinking this guy's done,
Yeah.
but though then he gets up and is a zombie. So maybe he just didn't shoot himself very well, but he was dead.
He was definitely dead. Or we all assumed he was. But maybe it didn't really penetrate his brain. Maybe it just like
Or do
glanced in.
headshots not actually kill these zombies?
Well, it seems, I mean, from what I've been like when I thought the same thing and I mean, they do eventually
We've
kick
seen
him.
Fa in the parking garage get killed by an axe to the head
Right.
and didn't has not reanimated that I'm aware of on the show.
Right. So like they show that sometimes it seems like there's like a neck spine involvement. So maybe that's it, but it doesn't feel like they're being consistent with that, right? Um, because, the axe in the head, uh, what's the name of the guy? The axe guy. That powered like he can it's an axe in the head too, and that doesn't seem to do anything.
Didn't seem to stop the guy from getting
Right.
back up, but maybe it wasn't in far. I don't know. Like,
Again, maybe there's something that we're missing here in terms of like that aspect. But
yeah. But so
anyway,
Ning
it
and Yin have this discovery journey, where they also end up killing the zombie Ek again,
hmm
and then go into the lab with the notes of from Dr. Weeraj and all of his human trials information and discover that he's been using these infected jellyfish on
yep.
the serum that he developed, and that's basically what has been happening. And there's some pretty cool footage here of like a big jellyfish being followed by other little jellyfishes. And also there's some English in one of these
Yeah.
episodes where Ning is on a phone conversation, I think, with a Japanese uh, colleague or somebody else, a researcher from Japan, and they're communicating in English, which I don't know. Suddenly there were no subtitles. I was like, "Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay."
Yeah. In written English too, there's like
Yeah,
notes
in
in
the
English
email.
as well.
Yeah.
Um, and we see a little bit more of like we see like there's a lot going on in terms of like Neen and Dr. Wiraj, and we see um like she's getting a lot of truth in this that is really unhappy. Like when they see like they get into the files and she can't believe that he's been doing any of this because she knows like, and then they do like some flashbacks to explain some of that stuff. But she knows that it's illegal to do what he's been doing, which is
Well, which is
essentially
why he iced her
hit it.
out,
Yeah, he
changed
iced her
changed the
out.
locks on the lab and
Yeah.
everything.
And I do think they do a really good job with Jet in terms of not just her journey of symptoms, but her trust in Dr. Waraj and how other people are interacting with her, that she's very much a beloved like presence on campus. So we see like Ning interacting with her in some of these flashbacks without knowing what's happening. we also see, that she very much like this is not just somebody that's like kind of in the background. Like Ning tries to, t but there is like a class system here. Like Ning tries to like, like sees how tired she is and it's but all of this is sort of like superimposed upon like she's looking for um like answers and we see the sort of way that the professor like ices her out of everything. The betrayal that she clearly feels like on every level, like she was confused probably by it before, but now it's like, you know,
Well, she
um
also feels a little bit culpable because
yeah,
she didn't send that
yeah,
she forwards that email she gets from the Japanese researcher. Um, like I don't know why she would. I mean, she's doing that because it has to do with their research, but she's clearly not on the project right now. But she's
right.
still forwarding him like new
Yeah.
information
No,
that
and
would
she feels
have that just she's like, oh, I did it too late. He didn't know
hmm
that this was going to have the reaction that it did. So I
right.
don't know. Like on some level, she's even though she feels betrayed, um, and that he's doing things that are super unethical. Like
Yeah.
he's talking to Auntie Jit about like, hey, you can't go to a hospital or see another
Yep.
doctor other than me. Please
hmm
let me know if you have any symptoms. And to be fair, she doesn't tell him about her symptoms.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to stop doing the test because she needs the money. She's in a really bad spot. This is partially
Yeah.
why this whole thing is so
Horrible.
immoral,
Yeah.
is because he's finding these desperate people and offering them $300 to
Right.
basically,
And that
in,
doesn't, I mean, Nina is incredibly upset about that.
yeah.
And like, and she like connects the dots because, and that's the thing. Again, um, Ying is like, well, I saw these people in the school lining up, like bring them into the lab, Auntie Jed, and he names a couple other people, and she's very specific about the timing of that.
Hmm.
And you can see as she's putting the pieces together how upsetting it is for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then they're tying it all to the infected jellyfish, which are there's a parasite that infects some of them that causes this like really aggressive and terrible behavior. But the whole point of the serum is supposed to be like to heal, to basically have this healing and regenerative effect, which, for her mom would have been an important thing. So yeah, and this is, I think that obviously they're trying to link the jellyfish parasite and everything to the sort of infighting amongst the zombies. And they have some pretty good jellyfish scenes at at the end of this. But
There's good jellyfish scenes for sure. We
yeah,
also have a scene or two with Wee Raj present day, still with Ning's mom, and that like the batteries on her medical equipment die, and so he's he like gives her a kiss on the forehead, and then is about to kill
yeah,
himself when there's a knock on the door or banging on the
yeah,
door. And I don't think we see the culmination of that scene
no,
in these two episodes. But like, what's interesting or stupid about this to me is like this machine she's on, it might be pushing oxygen like a CPAP, but she's not on a ventilator.
right,
All that thing was doing was reading her vitals, and then there was
right,
oxygen presumably in that pipe, that hose under her nose. But she's not intubated or anything. Like nothing is breathing for her.
right,
So I was just like, why are you acting like she's died because the battery? I mean, I just felt like that wasn't very realistic.
yeah,
I think she's still alive. They might say it's because he gave her the serum or something.
yeah. And we find out more why he might be feeling guilty. I mean, and that's more in episode 5. But like he actually does this whole confession. I guess the question for me is like why he's doing that. Like who does he think is going to find this? Because he did this obviously before everything really
I
happened.
think it's after though he gets that email from Ning.
Oh, okay. That makes a
Because
little bit
at
more
that
sense.
point,
Because
he's like, something bad is maybe going to happen that will have serious effects. Because
yeah.
now he's like,
Okay,
oh
that makes
God,
sense.
I've done it. Because when they have that shot of him looking at blood under a microscope, and then there's those little weird ass sperms in the blood, and uh, he's like, oh my God, what have I done?
Hmm.
And Auntie Jit's symptoms are not just exhaustion, but also back of the neck slime, which is
Yep.
one of the worst symptoms I can imagine.
Yes. And I would be like, yeah. I mean, I think what comes becomes very clear in the confession, and this is why Ning's so upset, is that like he was clearly like lying to the test subjects and manipulating them so that they wouldn't go and get help. So this could be like kept hidden, just completely unethical behavior. And and then this is all like tied into the jellyfish behavior for sure. But I mean, this is a pretty extensive confession, and I don't think it makes her feel any better that he basically is like, Ning had nothing to do with this. And I mean, I think that's why he iced her out, obviously, but she, is still upset no matter what. She still feels like this is, um, you know, um, anything that she had been working on was sort of theoretical at that point, and he definitely took it to the next step. So, it's and her realization of that all this is going on is pretty rough. Um, so in addition to now the revelation about her brother, so that's like great too. So, um, and her mother that there's something there. So that's kind of she's having a rough day.
It's not the best.
No, and and to add to the trauma, the idea of like Professor Wiraj, his connection to Ning, and like that the revelation um about all the things that he's doing, that he's honestly putting everything on the line to find a cure for her mother, and there really can only be one conclusion about why he's doing it, which is, you know, kind of a she's got a lot of difficult truths to deal with here, multiple. And then, you know, she's her Ying, who definitely has some things going on with her, is sort of in this like kind of odd role where he kind of has to make sure she's facing it and asking like the questions. But um I don't know. I think he does an okay job, but there's definitely some looks where he's not quite sure what to do there with her, right? Other than he kind of just leads her along the way about where he thinks this stuff is going. And like, but I don't know that either of them really, I don't know. Like they don't know all the things that we know about Auntie Jit. I mean, other than like the new behavior that people have observed, right? They only know this kind of in theory because they weren't part of
Right.
that.
That's one of the things this show is doing that's kind of interesting is having these like the greenhouse group, the gym group, and now the lab duo are all kind of coming to similar-ish conclusions, if not that similar in every case.
Right.
Like the greenhouse one is just like we can modify their behavior. The gym is like, oh no, they're acting like they've got pack dynamics, and then in the lab, it's like they've got pack dynamics and they're jellyfish related, and so yeah, I feel like they are kind of all. That's one of the interesting things about the way that they're doing this is the like this action oriented response that I feel like in often in zombie stuff it's just like let's just hunker down until we run out of food. They're not even messing around with that. They're trying to
Right.
solve the problem really close to when this all kicked off. Like it's day two.
Right. And then they are like taking action, and so eventually I think they're all going to meet up again. But we have to kind of see the group dynamics and things like that that kind of play themselves out in the different sections that we're seeing. Um, so I don't know. It's um, I like I the whole scene in the gym where Prow is just kind of doing her best to be like, I don't know, manipulate things. Like she's not necessarily wrong, but basically like Zan's whole like I'm the leader kind of role and being challenged on that feels very um it's almost like a commentary. Like he was definitely somebody that like would you think that he's like a bully, or is he just somebody that's like really privileged? That there's
Zan?
like, yeah, that Sand, that there's like resentment towards him in the gym, like because Prowse definitely got an axe to grind with him, and haha, um, and she's been trying to kind of get revenge on him or something, um, throughout this,
Like
even in
that's why she told Ning that she'd been having an affair
right,
with
and
him.
then this whole thing where she's kind of like, you don't get to be the leader, nobody voted you the leader or whatever. It's kind of weird. So, um, I don't know. Um,
Her motivations have been a bit odd this whole time.
right.
Like
Um,
she's not above threatening to kick people to the zombies when they show the smallest amount of weakness. So, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, Prow is a I go back and forth on whether or not I'm enjoying her character.
Yeah, I feel like we need to know a little bit more there, right?
Yeah.
So,
But so yeah, I did watch these two episodes at least partially on 1.5 times speed
yeah.
because I did not enjoy them that much. And I'm relieved that there's only two more to go. And I feel like so far, I don't think that I would come back for a second season of this show.
No, I don't think I would either. I was hopeful because I do think that there's some cool things in here. I just feel like the storytelling's a little disjointed and too many groups and not really focused enough.
I think it's just too long also. Like
Yeah.
they don't need
Um,
7 hours of this show. This should have been like a 4 hour miniseries. Like a lot of I think the bulk is coming from flashback stuff, which is sometimes good. But yeah, I think
right.
like more editing needed to happen on this show.
Right. And then, I did like, look, I like that they're coming up with plans. I don't know that picking a leader would have made their plan any different. Because it kind of was where they were going anyway, but basically the group, the PE kids or whatever you want to call that group, um, come to we're kind of seeing the same information both with Ning and in the lab and then in the gym and you know they're like, okay, well, Auntie Jit's like the pack leader, and she's probably going to go back into the building that everybody's like familiar with. And Mook is, said, oh yeah, she's definitely like the main person. That's like she's there every day on the like whatever. She's got her routine, and so they have a plan, which I definitely like, but they took a really long time to get there and put themselves in danger to do it. And I mean, I do like. I'm not sure like I think one of the things that's bothering me is that I almost don't think that they would get to the conclusions they got to, even just video, like with the video they have. Um, I feel like they're leading the audience in that way. I don't think it's obvious that that was what was happening. Because they're like, you know, obviously Auntie Jip must be the lead. You know what I mean? Like it just feels a little too much of a leap based upon what they're seeing. But, you know,
Yeah, I'm okay if they make a couple of leaps.
yeah, at this point.
Yeah, like
So
let's get
anyway,
there.
um, yeah. So. But I guess if they do go after her, what is going to actually happen? Like, I don't know exactly
And
what
they
the
don't
plan
even
is.
know. They're like, okay, yeah, so if well, they're gonna kidnap her and then hold a knife to her neck and be like, see, none of the zombies will come.
Right.
It's
Like,
an absurd plan,
yeah,
but maybe it'll pay off. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
yeah. Um, and then, the Anason project, I just don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more about this, but this is the big mystery that is going to be solved in the next, hopefully, in the conclusion. But I almost feel like they're leaving a lot of places like unresolved, so there may be another season. I didn't see whether it was renewed for a second season or not. Did you?
I have no idea. There's very little information about this show in the
Okay.
English internet.
All right. Well, so, I'm curious to hear what our friends think about this, and so if you have some thoughts, send us some notes. Did you have anything else to add? Sorry, Stuart, I didn't mean to
No,
wrap.
I am. I am
Okay.
all done on these two episodes.
Okay. So if you have thoughts to share, send it to reanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear what you think. And, I think we will be happily wrapping this up in the next one.
In the next one, and then we can move on to something else.
Yeah, like cold storage or something. So, um, so until next time, bye bye.